Alright, so in the last video what we did was we set up Google Analytics and Tag Manager. What we will do today is that we will show you how to track buttons using Google Tag Manager. So in terms of button click tracking or tracking button clicks in Google Analytics, the best thing to do that in is Google Tag Manager. And so what you do is that you connect with a tag, you connect to Google Analytics. What you do is you tell Tag Manager to go to your web page and listen to an event. So you create a trigger in Tag Manager that listens to an event that is specified by the page they're on, or like the page, the button ID, the button text, etc. So you can define whatever click. So you're listening to a click here, and the trigger here that is connected to Tag Manager is listening to whenever someone clicks on your website, and then you define what clicks they are listening to by saying what page this click should happen on, what ID the button has, what text is in that button, and that makes it specified enough so that you can then collect the information. You can tell it to only listen to these types of clicks, then it collects it, and then it sends this to through a tag to Google Analytics, where you can say what type of event it is, what category, what action it was, and what label. So just as you can specify what click it was here, you can then tell Google Analytics to register it based on the category, the action, and the label. So if the event category is button clicks, and the action they do might be convert, and the label might be to what product it was. So this is how tracking buttons work in Google Analytics if you run it through Tag Manager. And I strongly suggest that you do that. Otherwise you have to add a little bit of code to every single button to make that happen. So let's set that up. And this is something that you will want to do eventually when you have a website, because you will either want to target them, like put a goal when someone clicks that button, or you just want to measure how many people click a specific space or place on your website. So it's a good thing to learn. And tomorrow we're going to set up goals, and one of them is based on clicks on buttons, and one of them is based on thank you pages. So let's have a look at how we set these up. So in our previous video we set up Google Tag Manager, and so the thing that we should do is that we should tell Google Tag Manager to collect all clicks that happen on this website. So the first thing we do is we look at all the clicks that happen on this website, and let's go see how we can do that. First thing, enter preview mode, so that nothing that we do here happens on the website. Actually, it doesn't until we submit, but it's always good to have preview mode set. The second thing is that you go down to triggers, and now you click new trigger. You will call this trigger GA button clicks, or whatever you want to call it. I call it this. Please copy. Then you go into this thing, you click the main surface here, and then you tell it to all clicks on the website, all elements, all clicks on the website. So you save, right? So now what should happen is that you click refresh, and then when you get to your website, you will see that any click on this website, let's reload this. So we get that little Tag Manager thing down here for the preview mode. Any click on this way, if I click here, you can see that was a click. If I click here on the button, that was a click. And if I go into this thing now, you can see here that nothing fired when I click that button. And when I go into the variables here, it's not very helpful if I want to specify, if I want to, make that thing that we saw on in the previous section where I specify that it's just this button. There's nothing really here that I can see that sort of helps me to specify that that is a button. And the reason is I haven't turned on the right variables. So under Google Tag Manager in variables, what you do is you scroll down here under configure, and you make sure that all of these are checked, because otherwise we won't be too helpful. And now we go back to the page, we reload, and we pull this down, and we try to click this button again. And now we mark it like so, pull this up, few variables, and you will be able to see here. Oh, actually, no. And so once we've done that, we go and we refresh, then we reload, and then we pull this thingy down and we click the button. You can see the click generated down there, so you mark it because there will be another click. You click 6, as you see. That will not be the right one. You click variables here. Now you can see that it's populated with a lot more different things here that you could choose between. But it still doesn't give us anything that we really can depend upon to make that button special, right? It doesn't say anything very much different here. So what should we do? Well, one thing we can do is we can try to put something in that input, in that button in our form that will end up here. And one of the things you will be able to do is click classes here. And so let's add a class. What a class is essentially, it's just a way to group things. Just as you see a person like a hipster downtown, you will know that that is a hipster. They will not admit it, but they are a hipster. And you do that because they have a set of properties, like a way they look and move and things like that, that is typical for a hipster. The same thing you can do with any kind of element in your HTML is that you can give it a class saying that all of these elements that have this class will be, they will be grouped. They will have a certain kind of characteristics. So you just go to the input here, that's the button. You write class equals, and for the sake of it, let's write hipster. Right? It can be anything. Please call it something better than hipster, like something that actually makes sense for that front page, like front page button, like so. Copy, save, update this, go in here. It's just for the sake of it, refresh this, and then we reload the page. This thing pops up, pull it down. Now we click the button again, put this up, click variables, and here you see click classes, front page button. Now this we know that we've only put on this specific button. So we double click that, we copy that thing, then we go into Tag Manager, we go into our triggers where we have our button all clicks. We open that up, and we open this up, and then we, instead of all clicks, we just select some clicks. And as you can see here, it says click classes. There are all those other elements. If there were other things on our web page that we could define this specific button by, then we could use that. But now we had to set this click class, like that we call the front page button. And just copy that. If there is anything here that is unique for that button that corresponds with anything here, then use that. But I will use click classes that contains, and then front page button. Some clicks, front page button. And then I will, so now it will only fire if this click class is front page button. I will save this. I will go back into it actually, and button form front page. I will call it, because now it's not all clicks on the site, now it's that specific button. I'll save. So now I know that this will only fire on those clicks that I have only defined here. So now I go ahead and create a tag for this. And what I want it to do is I want it to trigger when this click happens. And the tag that I want to fire is btn, wait, GA BTN front page form front page. I don't remember what I call that. But I will enter this, and then I will click in here, Universal Analytics, and then it will be an event that it will send to it. And because I don't want it to be just show a page view, but I want it to send an event, like someone has clicked this button. And I will call that button category BTN click for form submit label front. Actually, I'm going to use the URL here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I will have many button clicks, form submits, and URLs. And then when I pick them up, or I will have many button clicks and form submits, but I want to know what URL they happened on. And it's much easier this way, because then I can pick that up in Google Data Studio later. Value I don't have to fill in. I don't have to fill in. Actually, I need to fill in that. And yeah, that's it. Here. And now I want to see that whenever I click out here, no tags are fired. But when I click that specific button, I want to see that tags are fired. So I click here, nothing happens. This has not fired yet. Click here, nothing has happened. Okay, let's go and try to click this button. Boom, that tag fires. And so you now have sent an event that someone has submitted this form. Cool, right? So that's how you start tracking buttons in Google Analytics. Then we need to add some things such as errors, and so that you can deduct the errors. Like in this case, I didn't really fill in anything. I just sent. So we're gonna have to set some things so that if there is an error here, then this button isn't registered. But that we do during the goals section. So this is how you track buttons. And the final thing you have to do is, for that to work, is to click submit, and then BTN tracking front page, like so, and you go publish. I know I'm doing this the sloppy way, but and then you go to the page I want to do here. This is the front page, and you hit this button, and now what happens is you will have an event, button click, form submit, that happened within Google Analytics in real time. This is how you do it. You register it here, you create a trigger for that specific button. You create that trigger here, and you specify that trigger with your click class or whatever other element you want to use. And then you create a tag, and that tag then sends the information to Google Analytics, like so. If you think that this went too fast, then you can always go back and watch it again and see where I click. All right, so if you liked that video, then hit the like button. If you didn't like that video, then, just write a comment and tell me what I can improve in my videos. That will help me, because I'm here to help out whenever you have a issue or a problem. Issue. Either way, if you're new to this channel, then make sure you subscribe before you leave. And if you are having a bad day, then I hope that it turns around so you'll have a good day. And see you.